Seeing a dead friend alive. Posted by Professional Can 189. 5 years ago, my best friend died within a 2-week span unexpectedly. We had a wake for him following the service at a friend's house in the country. I'm sitting in a lawn chair just before dusk, my first drink in my hand. There was a guy taking photos of everyone, and I happened to look over at a group with 5 guys in back, 4 in front getting their photo taken by the corner of the house, about 15 to 20 yards away. I looked over to see who I might know. And in the back row on the far left was my deceased best friend wearing a red shirt with his arms crossed, with a big smile on his face. I looked down to put my drink down, looked back up, and he was gone. I said nothing that night to anyone, but it had rattled me. The next day I called one of our friends, Keith, who had known him for many years, and I told him something was bothering me, that I had seen my friend last night. He answered, "You mean over by the corner of the house, back row on the left? In the back row of the guys getting their picture taken? In the red shirt, smiling at you, with his arms crossed? And when you looked back, he was gone? I saw him too." To this day, I have no explanation, but I don't doubt that there is another plane of existence after this one, and that image has brought me peace over the years. He knew my name. Posted by Legolas Bow of Mirkwood. This story takes place last year in the springtime, around April, I'd say. I was working midnight shift, and on the way home from work on certain days, I would stop at the gym down the street from my job. So one day, I'm at the gym, and I'm on a machine when I noticed an older gentleman kept turning around and looking at me. Now, I've seen this man in the gym very few times, but I had never seen him in my life prior to that. So, with him looking at me, I was wondering if we were going to have a problem. He finally approaches me and asks me, "Is my father's name so-and-so?" Like his full name, not just the first. I'm a junior, so he said my name as well when he asked if that was my father's name. I told him it was my father's name and mine as well. He laughed and told me that I favored him, which is something I'm told often by others. Nothing out of the ordinary so far, right? I was assuming he was a friend of my father's and recognized me, or just recognized the fact that I was his seed. So I asked the man where they knew each other from, and he mentions a fraternity at a college that my father never attended. I know for a fact he never went to that college, and most definitely would have never been in a fraternity. So I tell him just that. The man mentions a church that they had seen each other at a few times. Once again, it can't be right, because my father barely went to church, and when he did, he was forced by his mom as a teenager. Even then, it was a totally different church than what the guy had mentioned. So then I tell the man to describe my father's appearance, and that was off as well. He described my father to be shorter than what he is and bald as well, which my father has never been. That's when I officially knew we weren't talking about the same person. Something I forgot to mention. The guy is at least 20 years older than my father, so them being friends on those types of occasions didn't add up. I told the guy that these are 2 different people we're talking about and asks again to make sure he got the name right. I responded that it is most definitely both of our names. We both agreed that it was an odd case of events and went our separate ways. I'd never seen him again after that, even with me going back to the gym multiple times. But I know this will be one of those things that stay in my mind forever. Disappearing Child Clone. Posted by Geneva 0777. Happened about 7 years ago. I was around 20 years old at the time. Still lived with my mom along with my little sis. On this day, she and my mom had gotten into a big argument. Ended with my sis packing up a few things and leaving to stay at our dad's for a while. During the argument, her room got a bit trashed. I was honestly in my feelings and felt bad for her, so right after she left, I went in and cleaned up a bit. Just tried to make it so it wasn't as trashed when she came back home. Afterwards, I turned off her light and closed the door. Not long after that, my aunt came by. My mom was still upset about the fight and invited her over to be in good company, and I guess mainly to gossip about the whole thing. My aunt brought along her 3 grandchildren. Soon after arriving, the kids start a game of hide and go seek, running up and down the stairs, shouting, just being kids basically. I was in a pretty sour mood and do not have the patience for them. So I tell them to stay downstairs if they're going to be playing around. The only rooms upstairs are mine and my sister's. Since I was still feeling upset about the fight from earlier, I decided to go out for a bit. I got dressed and then started to work on my hair in the bathroom. The way our bathroom is situated, if the door is open, I can see some of the hall and the entryway to my sister's room in the mirror. So I'm straightening my hair, and I have the door open since it gets hot fast when you're working with a flat iron. Out of nowhere, I see Tade, the oldest one of the kids, run right past me. Without turning to look at her, I can see through the mirror that she's heading for my sister's room down the hall. Oh, hell no! I seriously just cleaned up that room, and I know I just told these kids to stay downstairs. She should not be up here looking for a hiding place. So I immediately go right after. Split seconds after, I first see her run by, like I'm right behind her, just steps away. I watch as she opens the door to my sister's room, runs in and shuts the door pretty much in my face. I'm so pissed. I go right in after her, intending to chew her out, just ready to yell at her to get back downstairs. Except I didn't see her anywhere. My sis had blackout curtains and the light was off in her room, so it was a bit dim in there, but it was light enough to see, and it was a very small room. It is clear that Tade isn't there. Well, okay then. So I angrily walk over to the closet and throw open the doors, assuming she must have quickly ran and hid in there. Nope, she's not there either. In fact, my sis had so much junk in there, there's no way she could have hid. I turn around and give the room a good look over again. And yeah, she's definitely not in this room. Man, what the fuck? It all happened so fast that I almost doubted myself. I stood in that room, confused, thinking the last few seconds of time over and wondering, how the heck? Did I seriously just imagine this whole thing? I went downstairs to my mom's room. I find her and my aunt sitting on her bed, chatting away. Right in between them is Tade, laying down comfortably under the blankets and absorbing all the gossip, no doubt. In fact, all of the kids were in the room. The other 2 were settled in watching cartoons. They weren't even playing hide-and-go-seek anymore and hadn't been for a while. I asked my aunt if Tade had been downstairs this whole time. She tells me that she has. So I dumped this story on them, insisting I just saw her upstairs running into my sister's room. Tade is around 6 or 7 years old at this time. My claim badly scares her to the point she starts crying and refuses to move from the bed. I had to tell the poor kid I was just messing with her to calm her down. Of course, my aunt and mom weren't as amazed by the event as I was. While they agreed it was strange, to them, it was possible that I could have seen something else and mistaken it as Tade. But there's no way I imagined that whole thing. No way. I know what I saw. It was definitely Tade. I was steps behind her. Very clearly saw her with her outfit, her hair, in daylight, with the hall lights on. I watched her shut the door in my face. This was not some vague figure I think I saw in the corner of my eye. It was her, and I watched her go in that room. There's no possible way she could have gotten out the room and made it back downstairs unnoticed. It was a small room. If she did somehow leave, the door would have opened, and light from the hallway would have been a dead giveaway. My sister's door always shuts on its own unless you propped it open. And her spooked out reaction to my claim of seeing her upstairs when she had been downstairs seemed pretty genuine. Anyway, that's my unexplainable glitch in the Matrix. Nothing about that event had a malicious or evil feel to it. I have not seen or experienced anything remotely similar since then.